good afternoon, and good night. My name is Malphite Jr. This is Become the Podcast. How do you become anything? You dream, you declare, you commit. And success is your next breath. So here we are, kind of back to an original format. I've been playing with this idea of doing interviews and talking to some of my friends that I often have amazing conversations with, and using our conversations as inspiration for more content. And so, as I've been saying, I have more of my friends lined up, really, really cool people that have cool concepts. And what I'm learning is that celebrity is awesome. To have A-list celebrity is awesome. To have B-list or C-list celebrities are awesome. But there's so many cool conversations that are taking place every single day. And those conversations aren't between people who make millions of dollars. Sometimes they are people who are passionate, people who are incredibly smart, incredibly insightful, and they have something to say too. So instead of doing it myself and waiting for the person with the celebrity to come into my life, I say, you know what, why not just use my friends? I have a ton of friends who are super, super smart, super charismatic, funny, witty, and just have a lot of personality and have a lot to give. And so that's the route that I wanted to take in terms of providing additional voices to broaden or expand my content base. So that's what you'll be getting moving forward. But today it's just me with a concept, 3 points of contact, and a little story. So here we go. This podcast, the theme of it is, if you would just focus on yourself, ... If you would just focus on yourself, ... I was doing a keynote for AT&T, and they have this thing called Aspire, and it's a program in which they engage the community. And so they do a lot of, I think the gist of it, and I saw the entire program, I don't know the mission of it, but I think just from the looks of it, their objective is to prepare these kids for the workforce. So they run them through an HR presentation. They tell them about the importance of, or they give them some tips and some tips on how to interview properly. So why dress is important, why speaking is important, why posture is important, things of that nature. Why your social media platform and kind of what you do on social media, why that stuff is important. And then they actually take them through some mock interviews. They bring in some leadership from AT&T to give them some ideas about all the things you can do in AT&T. And so it's a cool concept. And then after that, they do some other exercises and some icebreakers and all that other jazz. And then they have a keynote speaker, which is what I did. So I'm speaking about this concept called the highlight reel. And I'm asking them the question, what's in your highlight reel? And that's a whole other topic. But I started as I was talking about the highlight reel or giving my talk, I talked about the concept of you should only be competing with yourself. So what I said is, if you want to stay in attack mode, you have to compete against yourself. And I said those that wake up every day looking to compete against someone else, they set themselves up for failure. And I got into a zone, and I felt the zone come on quick. And what I mean by that is, there are some things that I can talk about for a long time, and it seems like the content and the words and the analogies and the stories, they just become endless. And it's like you know when I'm in the zone, it's like I get the capacity for which I can pull from on a certain topic becomes endless, right? And I felt myself going down this rabbit hole of just story after story after story, example after example after example. And I said, shoot, I better stop, because I only have 15 to 20 minutes and I got to make sure that I, use my time wisely. And so I stopped, but as I in my head, I'm stopping and going on to the next topic. But in my head, I was thinking, man, I could have just said the name of this talk is going to be Compete with Yourself, and I could have just talked about that for the entire time. And that kind of stuck with me. So as I'm driving back, I kept just playing around. I just kind of kept playing around, or just investigating or thinking about, man, what was it about that made me so, what about that topic or that concept of competing with yourself that became so, I don't know, just real to me or interesting to me, And so it's just been in my mind. And so that kind of inspired me to talk about it today. It's like I had to get some more out of me. It's like being hot, and you're hot and you end the game hot, but you still want to play, but the game's over, but you're still hot. So you're like, I want to play some more. I kind of want to exhaust this hot phase, this hot hand that I got. I want to exhaust it. So this is kind of my attempt to exhaust the hot hand. So I go back to the name of this pod. If you would just focus on you, and I got 3 things that kind of would be the result of if you would just focus on you. And the first thing is, if you would just focus on you, you probably have a lot more gratitude. If you would focus on you, you probably have a lot more gratitude. They talk about social media being the cause of depression, right? And it's a simple concept, but they say that when you are always looking at everybody else's life, and you see the vacation, you see the night out, you see the fancy car, you see the nice outfit, you see all these things that quote unquote speak of success, right? And you look at your life that may look very mundane, right? May look very simple and not very exciting. It can mess with you. Now, the reality is, a lot of people post things on social media for a reason. Like, nobody posts the grind. Now, somebody might post somebody else's grind. Somebody else might post the fact that Flint is still dealing with a water crisis, but you're not going to have, most people posting their struggle, their grind, very often. It happens, but most time people are posting celebratory, high life types of posts, because I don't know what the psychology behind people posting their high life experiences. I don't get it, but a lot of people do. There's every now and then where you may want to post something special that you've seen or something special that you got, but other than that, I don't know what the psychology behind people, like every time they go out or every time they eat a good meal or every time they go out and they got to post it. There's another picture on social media of this lady at a parade, this older white lady. She's at a parade and she's surrounded around these other people, and everybody's got their phone out and she doesn't, and she's just watching, and everybody else is watching through the lens of their phone or through the camera of their phone, and it tells a story. The caption tells a story about, this is the way you can tell when somebody knows how to really be present. A lot of things, people being present is capturing it so they can put it on, capturing it through a picture or capturing it through film or footage or whatever. And she was just simply capturing the moment with her memory. Just taking in everything that she could, taking in the colors, taking in the energy, taking in the little subtle details that you might see when you just watch something from afar. And that is, maybe why people feel like they have to capture everything, because they're afraid that if they just watch this without taking a picture, without taking some footage, if they just watch it, they may forget it down the line, or maybe they might not be able to capture the entire moment. So maybe that's the reason why. But everybody wants to capture every experience. And so in a world of sound and visual and social media, you are going to, if you're in that world, you're going to see everybody's high life moment. And if you look at social media too much, you may get Jedi mind tricked into believing that everybody wakes up and every second of everybody else's day is filled with the high life. And that's not true. Nobody escapes the grind. Nobody escapes the grind. I don't care how much they tell you the life is awesome and it's a party. It's not. Puffy has an awesome social media presence, and he shows himself dancing and celebrating life and stuff like that. But we all know that Puffy is working. We all know that Puffy is working. It's probably, you don't see a lot of that because probably he ain't got time to post, and you ain't got time to take a picture of him or post or take a footage of him because y'all grinding, because everybody working. But when we focus more on ourselves and less on everybody else's life, that's when we start to develop a better appreciation for what we have. Like if I never knew that my neighbors were rich and I just focused in on what I had in front of me, I might think I'm rich. I remember hearing this, and I remember feeling this way as well. I remember people saying like, because of how their parents provided for them, and because of the work, and because of the gratitude and the appreciation that they instilled in their kids, the parents to their kids, the kids never knew they were poor. And so they grew up always believing that this little drive that we were taking, not to anywhere specific, but just to drive to the park, or to drive around the neighborhood, or to drive to see the lights around Christmas time. That was somehow like something to do. Didn't cost any money. Maybe the parents were broke, but let's go see the lights. It's Christmas time. Let's go to the suburbs. Let's go see the lights. Let's go see the light show. Nowadays, man, we take our kids to Toledo Zoo. We're in Ann Arbor. We take our kids to Toledo Zoo. We pay an entry fee to get into Toledo Zoo so we can see the light display around the entire zoo. It's awesome, by the way. But some people don't have that money. So let's just go to the suburbs and let's see the lights. That's what I used to do when I was younger. And I thought it was so cool. Even as I was approaching my teen years, I thought it was somehow cool. You know what I'm saying? Family get-togethers. I thought that was cool. Holidays. Not the holidays when you get gifts. Just the holidays when you get together and you cook. I thought that was really, really cool. Anytime that we had family come over to visit, I thought that stuff was cool. And I was an only child. I didn't have anything else to focus in on, right? I wasn't focusing on anybody else's life. I was just focusing on my life. I didn't have anybody else's life to look at as I was at home. Anybody else's pictures. I didn't have to see anybody else's gym shoes when I was at home. I didn't have to see anybody else's closet or anybody else's meal or anybody else's experience when I was at home. All I saw was what was in front of me. And because of that, and because of what my parents provided for me, I developed an appreciation for what I had. And sure, there were times when I got a little jealous. Sure, there was like, man, I wish I could have that. And sure, all through high school, I never had a pair of Jordans. I take that back. My senior year, my junior year, I got a pair of Jordans. But somehow, I don't even know how I got them either, because this is when Jordans used to sell out. But I went to some store and got a pair. But I never got a pair of Jordans or the shoes that would sell out super quick. I never got that, but it was cool, man. It was cool. I was just still grateful for what I had. You know what I'm saying? But I think it stems from, I was just so focused on myself, and my family was focused on us. And I think families who focus on themselves, you organically and almost by accident, you learn to appreciate what you have. And I think when you learn how to appreciate what you have, all of a sudden, it leads to a happier life. And because you learn how to appreciate what you have, when you see people with stuff, you don't look at them with jealousy or envy, you're happy for them. I'm happy for you, man. You got a new car. I'm happy for you. Yeah, your car newer than mine. Your car don't give you as much problems as mine, but that's cool, man. I'm happy for you, man. Like when you really understand gratitude and when you truly are understand the appreciation of just appreciation, then all of a sudden, whatever other people have, man, it's what you have. You like, listen, I'm just happy to have what I have. I would like a little bit more, but I'm happy to have what I have. But man, good for you that you got something that makes you happy. So if we would just, man, focus on ourselves a little bit more, man, we have a higher sense of gratitude. Because we be more focused on what we have and looking for the beauty and the goodness within what we have versus looking for the goodness in everybody else's life, and then developing that resentment and that anger and that jealousy and that envy that leads to unhappiness and leads to depression. If we would just focus on ourselves, we'd be better at stuff. You would just be better at stuff if you just focus on yourself more. We would be able to gain access to our database. You know, we learn so much throughout our lives, even when we are knuckleheads and we're not trying to learn, right? We're trying to make it tough for everybody who's trying to teach us, right? Even when, you know, we're just resistant to learning or we haven't developed an appreciation for learning. If we just focused in on ourselves, we do a better job of gaining access to the database that we've been given. And so when you talk about mastery, when you talk about, you know, superior craftsmanship in any sector, any form, or any capacity, you're talking about gaining access to all the information that is in your brain. That's what you're doing. You want to gain as much access to all the information locked in your brain as much as possible. You want to gain as much access to that as possible, and then you want to find a way to exemplify that. You want to find a way to execute that with incredible discipline. And that's what happens when you start focusing on yourself. See, when you focus in on everyone else, you basically compromise all your knowledge. You compromise all the information. You compromise all the years of training, all the years of studying. Again, and this is whether you are a person who studies a lot or doesn't study at all. Like, everybody knows something. Nobody is stupid. Nobody is dumb. Nobody is completely just on the idiotic. I mean, everybody is a genius. Everybody in some way. Everybody is super bright, super smart in some way. Everybody knows something. Everybody knows something. We all have a success mechanism built within us. And that success mechanism is a genius level talent. You got the key to some door. And that key opens and can unlock, just like a lifetime of knowledge. Right? And we all have a passion. There's something that we all enjoy doing that is beneficial to other people. We all have a passion. But if you are always focused in on everyone else, you never gain access to any of that. And that's the success mechanism. That's how you become, like, this is my belief. We are not created to hate everything about ourselves. We are not created to dismiss, dislike everything about ourselves. Like I believe that we are created and given. We are created, and let me see how to say this. We are created with a desire to like something about ourselves. We're created with that, right? So, like, you have something in you that you love doing that you know would help others. Like we're created with that. Like that's not something you can never go in life saying, I never figured out what I liked doing. I never figured out what made me happy. Well, I never figured out what I could do that would make me happy if I were doing it for other people. I just don't have that. Like I don't have any capacity in me to do something that I love that just so happens to be for the benefit of other people. I wasn't given that. That's not possible. We're all born with a passion and a passion to do for others. We're all built in that way. And so with that being said, you can only capture that passion, that genius. You can only capture you can only gain access to your knowledge base by focusing in on you. But oftentimes we focus in on everyone else. And we leave our passion by the wayside. And we never ever pick it up and truly just sit with it. And walk with it and talk with it and just run with it and live with it. And truly understand the beauty of the gift that we have been designed with and the purpose that we were designed for. We never truly understand that. And we never understand our beauty. Or we never understand how we are a masterpiece. We never understand how all of our experiences have created us to be this, amazing masterpiece. If we would just focus in on us, we'd just be better at stuff. And if we were better at stuff and we focus on ourselves, we'd be able to help more people. Because oftentimes what we do, we focus on everyone else and we either lose ourselves or we never find ourselves to begin with. And we spend an entire lifetime outside, living a life outside of the person we were designed to be. If we would just focus in on ourselves, we get to know ourselves a little bit better. We understand knowledge of self. We'd put ourselves in better positions for success. So we position ourselves better for success. Because we now understand what we're willing to fight for, what we're willing to lay down for. We understand what we were about. I told somebody, I forget what day it was. I think it was Monday. But we were having this really, really awesome conversation. And I told her, if I see a bunch of black people marching down the street, right? And they're marching for a cause. And I just so happen to be, walking the direction counter to where they're marching. So they're marching down the street and I'm marching, I'm moving up the sidewalk, up the street, And they say, hey man, you black, you should be in this march. And if I said, well, what are you guys marching for? And they said something that didn't make sense to me, I have no qualms about saying that's not what I'm here for. So like all the black people can be marching for a cause. But if that's not my cause, I'm not marching. And that comes from an understanding of self. Like we all have a mission. And some of our mission, since everybody has a mission, there's a lot of people with the same mission, but there's a lot of people with different missions. And if God put me on earth to do this, then he better make it very clear. God needs to make it very clear whether or not I need to be a part of this mission or keep it moving. Because I can't because I see the collective, or I see, I'm getting peer pressured into doing this thing over here. I can't submit to that because I might miss out on my God ordained purpose. But that only comes from knowledge of self. And how many people are out there neglecting their purpose because they don't know exactly what they were put on earth to do. You know, as we were having this conversation, and I'm speaking about black students. I'm at Michigan, and I'm like, I wonder how many black students who go to these sit-ins and these marches and these I forget, demonstrations. I wonder how many of them are really built for the cause. I wonder how many of them have the endurance to start and complete the cause. I wonder how many of these kids can demonstrate, can protest, and can sit in for a lifetime. I wonder how many of those kids are just doing it because they don't know who they are. So they feel like I need to be a part of something. Okay, I'll be a part of this because everybody here black and everybody here black is doing this, well then I'll do it too. But they have no true sense of identity. They have no true sense of, I know there's an important cause on campus, but I'm here for this reason right here, and I got to take care of me first. I can support the cause from afar. I can support the cause in a different capacity. I'm here for school. I'm here for school. I'm here to get a degree, and I got a huge paper that's on deck. And I can't afford to be at this demonstration for the next 5 hours because it's going to compromise my grade. And I ain't paying for my tuition, my parents are. I wonder how many people make decisions like that. All because they don't know who they are and what they've been put on earth for. And that's just one situation, but it could be many situations. How many people just simply do not know who they are? They didn't even know what they're willing to fight for. So when they get in situations and everybody else kind of jumps up and fight, they jump up and fight too, having no true connection, no real connection, no passionate, no heartfelt, no real connection to the cause. They're just doing what everybody else doing. In all actuality, that's not even what they're built for. It's not even what they're here for. They don't even, just something to think about. So I'm a big believer that when you know who you are, you're going to put yourself in better position to be successful because you're going to always lean toward why was I built? Why was I built? Why was I engineered this way? Why was I wired this way? Because I need to figure that out so I can stay closer to the situations and stay closer to the situations and the people who are going to get the best out of me and cultivate me and develop me and inspire me to realize my true version of myself and the highest version of myself. And so if we would just focus on ourselves, we'd have a lot more gratitude. We do stuff better, and we would know ourselves better. And because you know ourselves better, we can set ourselves up for success. So that's it. Took me 28 minutes. That's it. Hope that makes sense. Let me see. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow I'll have, I'm planning to talk with Nate. We're supposed to talk again about the psychology of athletes in terms of, what trends and psychology or psyche has he seen that translate into productive behavior and just productivity in general as it relates to the game of basketball. But I'm sure we can also look at it from a global standpoint and look at how psyche impacts performance in general, sport or no sport. So please join me. But with that being said, greatness lives on the edge of death. I'm not afraid to die. Will fight for my brother. I will celebrate my brother, and I will die for my brother. Thoughts are things, and everything starts off as I will. Let me tell you something real quick. Every time I say I will fight for my brother, I will celebrate my brother, and I will die for my brother. This is a mantra that we used to say before games, and I modified it and said, and I now I say I will fight for my dreams. I will celebrate my dreams, and I will die for my dreams. So every now and then I mess up because that mantra is etched in my heart as a rallying cry for my brothers and I, a team, to go out and do battle. And I've modified it for the sake of the podcast, so sometimes I mess up, but I will fight for my dreams, I will celebrate my dreams, and I will die for my dreams. Thoughts are things, and everything starts off as a thought first and springs from a place of mindfulness and clarity. My name is Mark Fikes Jr. We could do a lot more good if we were focused on ourselves. We could do a lot more good for other people if we were focused on ourselves. I know it sounds like a contradiction, but it's got some legs to it. Mark Fikes Jr. Done.